It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to. People like me and the whole beast like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. 'Cause you're damn whole beast. The whole beast north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have bags of fudge rounds. Wanna know what you eat, wanna know what you do. And then 300 pounds and 5'2" is all this damn country does, is keep eating them bags of fudge rounds. Eat.
I want to have fun, classic Rick and Morty adventures like in the old days.
Then we'll get along fine, Fascist Morty. For starters, I just need to get to Fort Bogelon Prime.
You will go where I want you to go!
It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to. For people like me and the whole beast like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. 'Cause you're damn whole beast. The whole beast north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have bags of fudge rounds. Wanna know what you eat, wanna know what you do. And then 300
That yes was
pounds
pretty
and 5'2"
liberal with the letter
is
Y.
all this damn country does is keep eating them bags of fudge rounds.
I want to have fun, classic Rick and Morty adventures like in the old days.
Then we'll get along fine, Fascist Morty. For starters, I just need to get to Fort Bogelon Prime.
You will go where I
Wish
want you to
could just
go!
wake up and it not be true, but it is. 'Cause you're damn whole beast.
This castle is in unacceptable condition!
The whole beast north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have
Satire.
bags of fudge
All
rounds.
content
Wanna know
is
what you
satire.
Wanna know what you do. And then 300 pounds and 5'2" is all this damn country does, is keep eating them bags of fudge rounds. The whole beast north of Richmond, milking welfare. The whole beast north of Richmond, it's on an island somewhere, eating them fudge rounds.
Morty, I caught this socialist in my bathrobe. He wants to give all of our martinis to a family of immigrants.
Killed.
It's about time we declare war on them English.
Working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay. Well, nothing's gonna change if all you do is wish you could wake up and it not be true. Join a union. Fight for better pay. You better join a union, brother. Organize today.
I'm looking at the crowd here in the tens of thousands, probably 100,000. I'm looking at the crowd here in the tens of thousands, probably 100,000. plus people here, and you did it all without burning down buildings. I'm looking at the crowd here and the tens of thousands, probably 100,000 plus people here, and you did it all without burning down buildings? Without looting? I didn't know that that was possible. No shit. Boom. According to the media,
these explosions are bullshit.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. Boom.
When you have a large gathering of peaceful protesters, they're supposed to burn it all down.
Boom. These explosions are bullshit. Boom.
Who could have seen that coming?
Boom, boom, boom. These explosions are bullshit.
No shit.
Let's have trial by combat.
This fight has only just begun.
Keep fighting.
Let justice be done.
I did it.
We're gonna walk down and I'll be there with you.
Get up.
The best is yet to come. When you catch somebody in the fraud, you're allowed to go by very different rules. It's so egregious, it's so bad, so base that people don't even believe it. It can't be true.
That's why my father sends a tweet. Patriots descend on Washington, D.C.
Amen. And a woman. No shit.
Boom.
According to the media,
These explosions are bullshit.
bullshit.
Bullshit. Boom.
When you have a large gathering of peaceful protesters, they're supposed to burn it all down.
Boom. These explosions are bullshit. Boom.
Who could have seen that coming?
Boom, boom, boom. These explosions are bullshit.
No shit.
Let's have trial by combat. We're gathered together in the heart of our nation's capital to save our democracy.
What?
And Mike Pence is gonna have to come through for us. If he doesn't, that will be a sad day for our country.
Who hides evidence? Criminals hide evidence.
I had no idea. Who could have seen that coming?
Because you'll never take back our country with weakness.
So let every adversary against democracy, against liberty, be overturned right now.
So we're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue.
No shit.
Boom.
According to the media,
These explosions are bullshit.
bullshit.
Bullshit. Boom.
When you have a large gathering of peaceful protesters, they're supposed to burn it all down.
Boom. These explosions are bullshit. Boom.
Who could have seen that coming?
Boom, boom, boom. These explosions are bullshit.
No shit.
Let's have trial by combat.
No shit.
Boom.
According to the media,
These explosions are bullshit.
No.
$1 million.
And by the way,
Mr.
my
President,
son.
wait a minute. Mr. President, your campaign agreed. To both sides would get 2-minute answers uninterrupted. Well, your side agreed to it, and why don't you observe what your campaign agreed to as a ground rule, okay, sir?
Look, here's the deal.
Tremendous crowds, and Joe does the circles and has 3 people.
Here's the deal. He's been totally irresponsible, responsible. Yes, he's a fool. Here's the deal.
President Trump did a phenomenal job. Will you shut up, Mason?
Look, here's the deal. I don't trust him at all, nor do you. I know you don't.
Let me shut you down for a second, Judge. He wants to shut down the country. Let me shut you down for a second, Judge. I've done more than you've done in 47 years, Joe.
Do I get my time back? You can't fix the economy until you fix the COVID crisis. He does not have a plan. I know how to do the job. It's the same process.
There has never been an administration that's done what I've done. Let her shut down right
gotta
now.
respond to that.
President Trump, you have begun.
Look, here's the deal. It's hard to get any word in with this clown.
This is the way it is.
Look, here's the deal.
President Trump did a phenomenal job.
Come on, man. here's the deal. Everybody knows he's a liar.
Fake news. They give me bad press.
Look, here's the deal. I don't trust him at all, nor do you. I know you don't.
The second subject is
COVID-19! 200,000 dead. If we just wear a mask, we can save half those numbers.
We got the gowns. We got the masks. We made the ventilators. You don't know how many people died in China. You don't know how many people died in Russia. You don't know how many people died in India.
Maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it.
I see the disinfectants.
And a lot more are gonna die unless he gets a lot smarter.
So, did you use the word smart? Don't ever use the word smart with me.
Give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you.
Here's the deal.
Tremendous sprouts, and Joe does the circles and has 3 people.
Here's the deal. He's been totally irresponsible. Yes, he's a fool. Here's the deal.
President Trump did a phenomenal job. Will you shut up, man?
Look, here's the deal. I don't trust him at all, nor do you. I know you don't. Close your eyes. Remember what those people look like just spewing anti-Semitic bile, accompanied by the Ku Klux Klan. But he said we're very fine people on both sides.
You call them super predators, African Americans, super predators. What? And you called them worse than that. What? You call them super predators.
Are you willing to condemn white supremacists?
I'm willing to do anything.
Do it. Say it.
Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left. It's a left-wing.
Here's the deal. It's hard to get any word in with this clown.
This is the way it is.
Look, here's the deal.
President Trump did a phenomenal job.
Vote.
You have to have your ballot in by November 10th. November 10th. That means that's 7 days after the election. Don't tell me about a free transition. As far as the ballots are concerned, it's a disaster.
He has no idea what he's talking about. Here's the deal. He's just afraid of counting the votes because
You're wrong.
No,
It's a fraud, and it's a shame.
Look, here's the deal.
Tremendous sprouts, and Joe does.
That's a big game, man. Here's the deal. He's been totally irresponsible. Yes, he's a fool. Here's the deal.
President Trump did a phenomenal job. Will you shut up, man?
Look, here's the deal. I don't trust him at all, nor do you. I know you don't.
Will you say that's the end of it? This is the end of this.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, man, I seen the dang old rake over there down Smithsonian, man, right next to Lincoln's Head, the arch chair, man, the dang old caveman section. Man, they gotta watch that friendly fire, man. You gonna live dig and frag me like I'm a dang old.
It's a damn shame.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, man, I seen the dang old rake over there down Smithsonian, man, right next. I tell you what, man, that dang old NRA was our rights, man. The insurance you get with this dismemberment night like that, you get like $20,000 just for your arm blows off, man. Hey, man, that's a dang old good old deal, man. I tell you what, $100 a month, man, you get them hookups, you get them old dang tube top jiggling around everywhere and whatnot, man. It's nothing but a dang old trash, man. Tell you what, man, Hank gets all prettied up and then old them combing his hair over and off to the side, man. And go like this, like, this my good side, man. It's dang old pretty sissy out like that. These dang old aforementioned antiquities pursuant to the public domain Title 9 of the Southern State Resource Code. But I tell you what, man, it's their tax. Man, that's a good one, man. They got another one, man. What do you call the difference between old man and a little squirt gun?
Whole beast north of Richmond, on an island somewhere, eating them fudge rounds.
What up? How's it going, y'all? How's the light? How's the lighting? All right. I need to share my stream real quick with that is not what I wanted to do. Let me go on my phone real quick and do that shit. Why is Mitch McConnell on the screen? Oh. Mitch McConnell does not need to be on the screen that big. And actually, we're going to change that to Dianne Feinstein because Dianne Feinstein recently passed away. So, in order to celebrate her, we're going to put her in the recent donation section, which is this. So, can we just edit it? Yeah. R.I.P. Dianne. How do you spell her last name? Fine. Is that how you spell Dianne Feinstein, or am I Dianne? Yeah. I think that's it. Let's see how I put it here. No, I fucked it up. Dianne Feinstein. Feinstein. There we go. I fixed it, I think. Something looks off. I fucked up again. Gosh darn it, man. What? Am I dyslexic? Feinstein. Now it's good. There we go. Dianne Feinstein. R.I.P. Rest in peace. We're gonna miss you. You are just like Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Yeah. Awesome. Starting out great. We're gonna start out with some fun stuff first, but then we're gonna get on to some, some news that's not quite as breaking anymore, but still very important stuff going on right now, man. Crazy shit. So let me go on my phone and share the stream real quick. Uh-oh. Yeah, I might add that shit to the fucking news stream. Fucking Canada had a fucking Nazi on, and they gave him like a standing ovation and everything. Yeah, like a literal Nazi too, like an SS type. Not good. Fuck, we need some like background music, background stream music. Sharing my stream real quick. All right, now you guys can chill now. we are gonna start out with a fun little. I don't want the video there. We're gonna start out with Oliver Anthony, I think, guys. Oliver Anthony, he's pretty fun. He's a fun guy. Oliver Anthony, you ever heard of Oliver Anthony? Okay. So, this random, out of nowhere, country guy. Out of nowhere, this country guy named Oliver Anthony, with no fucking views, no nothing, just blew up out of nowhere. And everyone's like, oh, this guy's so genuine and so good because he blew up and he's so good. And oh my God, he's a working class man. Bro, look at this motherfucker. I don't know if this guy doesn't know his politics or what, but we're gonna look into him a little bit. Cause I saw he had like a playlist about like some Jewish shit, anti-Jewish shit.
I've been selling my
So watch this, and then we're gonna poke fun of him after. Watch this shit, and we're gonna clown on him a bit.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me and people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is.
Hey man, that's a dang old good old deal, man. I tell you what, $100 a month, man. You get them hookups, get them old dang tube top jiggling around this way. Man, they gotta watch that friendly fire, man. You don't live dig them frag me like a dang old. I tell you what, man, that dang old NRA all rights, man. The insurance you get it with dismemberment, not like that. You get like $20,000 just because your arm blows off, man.
I don't think you know.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, man, I seen the dang old wreck over there down Smithsonian, man, right next to Lincoln's had that chair, man, the dang old caveman Man, that good one, man. That old day got another one, man. What do you go with that difference between that old man and the little squirt gun?
Not just miners on an island somewhere.
What? Did you guys hear that shit? Wish politicians would look out for miners and not just miners on an island somewhere. So basically what this guy is saying is, I wish politicians will worry about coal mining jobs, which are like very few and far in between. And I guess he's trying to say coal country or like the Rust Belt, but coal jobs are not really that big anymore. We don't use coal much. You know what I mean? So honestly, we should just transition you guys into something else, but coal is like a dead job at this point. And then worry less about miners on an island. Like, he's basically saying the government shouldn't worry about an island full of children being fucking abused, which is really weird.
Island somewhere, Lord, we got
you know what I mean? Isn't that fucking weird,
not
guys?
just miners on an island somewhere.
Like, he sounds so fucking retarded.
Tell you what, man, he gets all prettied up and then old combing his hair on off to the side, man. And going like they did, like, this my good side, man. He dang old pretty sissy dad like that.
I wish politicians look out for miners, not just miners on an island somewhere.
Bro, this guy deserves 1,000,000 years in the dungeon.
1 million years dungeon.
What the fuck are you saying, Oliver Anthony?
I wish politicians.
This is weird. Isn't that weird, guys? Am I overreacting?
Not just miners on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the old beast milking welfare.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? The obese milking welfare, bro. The ones milking welfare are the fucking rich assholes who are basically using a bunch of tax cuts, loopholes, and are taking advantage of corporate welfare. That's a thing. Corporate welfare is a thing. There's normal welfare, and there's corporate welfare. Corporate welfare should not be a fucking thing. We should cut corporate welfare and just leave normal welfare, because we should be helping each other. We should be helping poor people, not fucking corporations that like can write a bunch of money off or write something off on their PPP loans or whatever during a pandemic and get like fucking thousands of dollars for free of tax. They don't even gotta pay it back. What the fuck are you talking about? All of our fucking dick shit, dipshit, retarded ass. Oh my god.
The rich man. The rich man.
I tell you what, man, that dang old NRA was all right, man. The insurance you get with dismemberment, not like that, you get like $20,000 just for your arm blows off, man.
Not just miners on an island somewhere.
Tell you what, man, he gets all prettied up and then load them combs hair on off to the side, man. Go like this, like get my good side, man. You dang old pretty sissy died like that.
God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down.
Bro, you're kicking everybody
Lord,
down.
it's a damn shame.
You're kicking everybody
What the
down with your
world's
stupidity,
gotten
bro.
to for people like me.
Literally.
People like you wish I could just wake up and not.
And now this motherfucker went on this dude literally went on Jordan Peterson, bro. You were a right-wing fucking hack, man. You're a right-wing hack, you loser. You loser. What about the Richmond south of Richmond? Huh?
I've been selling my soul, working all day.
Where are the Richmond south of Richmond at?
For bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away.
That's good one, man. They got another one, man. What do you call it?
What the world's gotten to. People like me. People like you wish I could just wake up.
I tell you what, man, he gets all prettied up and then load them combs hair on off to the side, man. Go like this, like get my good side, man. You dang old pretty. Hey, man, it's a dang old good old deal, man. I tell you what, $100 a month, man. Get them hook up, get them old dang two tops jiggling around everywhere and whatnot, man. Man, they gotta watch that friendly fire, man. You don't live digging frag me like a dang old. Yeah, man, I tell you what, man, I seen the dang old rake over there down Smithsonian, man. Right next to Lincoln's had them arch chair, man. The dang old caveman section. I tell you what, man, that dang old NRA was all right, man. The insurance you get with dismemberment, not like that, you get like $20,000 just for your arm blows off, man.
Bro, why don't you talk about the fucking the Richmond south of Richmond? Do you guys know that Richmond was the Confederate fucking capital? Richmond was literally the Confederate capital, guys. The fucking Confederate. I forget what the camera is. The Confederate capital. Remember the Confederates? The guys that like attacked the United States back then, and then there was a whole civil war over it because they attacked the fucking fort because they want to keep slavery and sell slaves and make money that way. Fucking slavery, guys. Is this what we're defending now? Oh yeah, of course. Anything here? Yeah, look at this. What is Richmond north of Richmond, and why is it suddenly everywhere? This fucking idiot. People like me and people like you have a new anthem, and it's one of that 9 point whatever million is such bullshit. This guy's so AstroTurf. If you don't know what AstroTurf is, it's basically when a bunch of wealthy people get together and fund something and then make it look like it's natural. This guy is not natural. He's fucking bullshit. Where does it talk about the fucking capital, bro? I don't care about his stupid Spotify or whatever. They don't even talk about it. Where the fuck is the Richmond stuff? Virginia. That's not it. You could forgive existence of the conservative chamber. Richmond or the Richmond suddenly viral hit. Artist Virginia Oliver. Video speaking objectively, deliver and varnish Anthony's voice carries. You know. Okay, so in 2010, 29 miners were killed in Relane County, West Virginia. In an explosion, the CEO of the company who owned the mine, Don Blankenship, conspired to evade safety regulations in the lead up to the disaster and ultimately served 1 year in prison. So this motherfucker evaded safety regulations and the mine blew up, and then this dude is making a song for the miners that died, but he's blaming fat people and fucking welfare and obese people instead of the rich men south of Richmond. Where the fuck is Relane County, West Virginia? Like, where's... Like, bro, you gotta worry about rich people, not just like the one north of Richmond, you fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot, bro. You're a fucking idiot, bro. You're an idiot.
I wish politicians look out for miners. And not just miners on an island somewhere.
Getting abused by Jeffrey Epstein.
Street ain't got nothing to eat.
Leave
and
Epstein alone.
Milking welfare.
Yeah.
God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds.
5'3" and 300 pounds. Oh, you lucky you got 6 inches above everybody else. I'm like way taller than you though.
Taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves
Bro, who's
6
buying
feet
fudge
in the
rounds,
ground.
dude? Nobody eats
all
that
this
shit.
damn country does is keep on kicking them down.
Oh, what a damn shame. All right, y'all, we gotta put the real song. We gotta put the real song, guys. The real song is this. Terminal mode. Terminal mode. 500 subscribers. Good job, buddy. I'm gonna subscribe. And he made this very good video. It's very good. Let me know what you guys think. Look at that. Food deserts. Food deserts are areas where people can't get any healthy food. And it's fucking everywhere. Look at that. That's fucking insane.
It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to. For people like me and the obese like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. It's a damn
I tell you what, man,
obese.
he gets all prettied up and then old them Coleman's hair rolling off to the side, man. Gonna act like they like, get my good side, man. It's damn, hey, man, it's a damn good old deal, man. I tell you what,
North of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have bags of fudge round. Wanna know what you eat, wanna know what you do. And then 300 pounds and 5'2" is all this damn country does.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, man, I
bags of fudge rounds.
Smithsonian land up right next to Lincoln's Head.
Eating them fudge rounds.
keep, man.
The
So,
whole beast north of Richmond, milking welfare. The whole beast north of Richmond,
I tell you what, man, that dang old NRA's all right, man. The insurance you get it with this Betterman, man, like that, you get like $20,000 just for your arms blows off, man.
Perfect.
Fudge rounds.
Oh, this is my jam.
Oh, beast north of Richmond.
Honest with y'all, it's not good.
Welfare.
Vibe successfully killed.
Now this song is by Billy Bragg Official. So if you like this remix of it, go find him. This one is like a more pro-union one.
If you're selling your soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, well, nothing's gonna change if all you do is wish you could wake up and it not be true. Join a union. Fight for better pay.
This was way better than the
join a
original.
union, brother.
Way better than the original.
Organized today.
Subscribe to Terminal Mode, guys. This guy's fucking good. Very good. Okay. Let's look at Humanist Report made a video of Oliver Anthony. We can watch Oliver Anthony went woke, or then we can watch Oliver Anthony's attempt to clarify his politics. Let's watch both of them. Woo! Mike.
So last
Mike
week we
Figueroa,
talked
not
about
John
how
Oliver.
artist Oliver Anthony, who went viral for his song Richmond
Not
North
John
of Richmond,
Figueroa, it's Mike.
found himself in a little bit of hot water with some of his right-wing fans because he dared to say that diversity is good during a Fox News interview. I'm not joking about this. But it gets a little bit worse for conservatives who thought that he was one of them because they played a clip of his song at the GOP debate and he responded to that. And what he said, I'm assuming, did not make a lot of Republicans happy.
No.
I'm disappointed to see, like, it's aggravating seeing people on conservative news try to identify with me like I'm one of them. It's aggravating seeing certain musicians and politicians act like we're buddies and act like we're fighting the same struggle here, like that we're trying to present the same message. You know, I've had a lot of people reach out to me, and I've tried to be polite to everybody, and I've talked to hundreds of people the last 2 weeks. But it seems like certain people want to just ride the attention of this song to maybe make them their own selves relevant, and that's aggravating as hell. The other thing that I find aggravating is, well, you know, like, it was funny seeing my song in the, it was funny seeing it at the presidential debate. Because it's like, I wrote that song about those people, you know? So for them to have to sit there and listen to that, that cracks me up. But it was funny kind of seeing the response to it. Like, that song has nothing to do with Joe Biden, you know? It's a lot bigger than Joe Biden. That song is written about the people on that stage, and a lot more too, not just them, but definitely them.
So apparently his song wasn't necessarily the right-wing anthem that conservatives hoped it would be. But with that being said, I don't think that they're wrong to assume that he was one of them, because if you listen to the lyrics of his song, I mean, it is very heavily right-wing coded, and on top of that, he literally complains about people on welfare being fat and lazy. I mean, this is supposedly a working class anthem, but people on welfare are part of the working class. They're on welfare because they're not making enough to pay the bills, even though they have jobs. So to me, it's bizarre that he thinks Republicans were, I guess, wrong to assume that he was on their team. But Democrats started to kind of celebrate this after he repudiated the GOP.
Nope.
But he had a message for them too, because on Twitter he wrote, "I don't support either side politically. Not the left, not the right. I'm about supporting people and restoring local communities. Now go breathe some fresh air and relax, please. I'm not worth obsessing over. I promise. Go spend time with your loved ones." Now, that's something that I actually agree with Oliver Anthony about, even though I could...
This guy literally doesn't have any politics. He just doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's literally most likely astroturfed. And they were hoping that he would go on the Republican side, but he's just like, I don't want to be on either side. He's being independent about it. So now let's go to the next video of Oliver Anthony, because I don't want to watch the whole
Bud Light.
I don't want to watch the whole Mike Figueredo video. Watch it yourself. Here we go. This guy's a loser. This is Kid Rock. This is before he shot the Bud Light cans in his really wealthy estate near a river. And then he was caught drinking Bud Lights again. So
Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch. Have a terrific day.
Yep.
Your eyes are not deceiving you, my friends. You indeed just saw a photograph of Kid Rock drinking a Bud Light during a Colt Ford show in Nashville, Tennessee. So I guess this means that the boycott is over, right? Now, if you're still skeptical, well, there's a second photograph taken from a different angle, which clearly confirms that he is indeed holding a can of Bud Light. Now, there's also video evidence of this betrayal published by TMZ, which I cannot share due to copyright issues. But yeah, it seems like this is the end of the Bud Light boycott, or perhaps the beginning of the end, at least when it comes to Kid Rock's participation. Now, for all three of you not familiar with this story, Kid Rock, a couple of months ago, shot up cans of Bud Light in protest of their brand deal with a trans influencer. Now, that was arguably what sparked this boycott in the first place, which ultimately resulted in a substantial drop in sales for Bud Light and them losing their status to Modelo as the top-selling beer in the country. So for once, conservatives were able to flex some muscle when it comes to the culture, and now I guess it's all been thrown away by the very person who catalyzed this movement. Hilarious. Now, the right is taking this about as well as you'd expect. One Twitter user cried conspiracy, writing, actually, he was drinking a Coors Light can. This is a lie. Hitler. Someone altered it. Look at the pic carefully. Also, the blue outline doesn't match the blue can. Someone took the Bud Light logo and inserted it over the blue on the can. Now, unfortunately for this person, that's not true. And even if it were true, Coors Light is also woke. But another user attacked a journalist for sharing the photo. Right? This is so fucking stupid. Writing, that last thing you wrote was a doozy. Posting a picture of Kid Rock holding a Bud Light without any background verification that it wasn't photoshopped or that it was taken years ago. Garbage clickbait journalism designed to brainwash liberals even more. Goddamn. Now, aside from the conspiracies, others expressed genuine disappointment. For example, the Daily Caller tweeted, "Come on, Kid Rock, what are we doing?" With others replying, calling him a fraud and a hypocrite, or questioning the authenticity of the photo, like the aforementioned conspiracy theorists that we saw. Now, in response to Tim Pool jokingly calling it treason, although we know he's deeply hurt in reality.
So, like, basically, these people were trying to act like Bud Light is going out of business and no one's gonna drink it no more. And if you're conservative, you're not gonna drink Bud Light, and Bud Light's dead. And Bud Light's woke because they had on Dylan Mulvaney, which is a trans woman, and they had one ad where they sent one can over to her, and that one can had her face on it, and it's promoting child pedophilia somehow because they want to turn your kids trans so that less people have kids and the human species goes out. Like, these people are fucking insane, and nothing that they ever predict comes true. So
Reality, an account called "We Are All God's Children" wrote, "I am strongly against cancel culture, but I am calling for a boycott of of all Kid Rock products until further notice. They're fucking serious about this. Now, my favorite response came from conservative influencer Nick Adams, who released a satirical official statement writing, "I have been made aware of social media posts circulating that show Kid Rock allegedly enjoying a can of Bud Light. I take this allegation seriously and am in close contact with sources on the ground. I am currently conducting a thorough investigation evaluating confidential photo and video evidence and interviewing eyewitnesses. Kid Rock is an American icon and a patriot. He will be considered innocent until proven guilty. I have complete and total faith that we will uncover the truth." I mean, goddamn, conservatives sure are deranged, but you've got to give them credit for at least being entertaining. Now, there's debate online about Nick Adams and whether or not he's playing a character. And I think it's a little bit of both, right? I think that he's likely a conservative who plays up conservatism for more engagement on Twitter. And his post was very clearly meant to be a joke. But I mean, I have to be honest, people like him and Tim Pool downplaying this by joking about this, it does feel a little bit like cope to me. Because when they finally were able to assert some cultural dominance, I mean, it's gotta feel like a gut punch to see the person who led the charge being exposed as a complete fraud and not living up to the principles that he said all of them should espouse, right? And I get that it's beer and it's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, but remember, we're not the ones who made this a big deal. They're the ones who made this a big deal. But unfortunately for them, Kid Rock was never serious about boycotting Bud Light. Here's what CNN found when they visited his bar in Nashville, Tennessee.
Despite the online bravado and talk of a boycott, Bud Light was available when CNN stopped in recently. It is not clear if the ban had been lifted or if there ever had been one to begin with.
That was the mainstream media equivalent of them this shoeing someone, because that was CNN this shoeing Kid Rock. I mean, it's hypocritical, right? They say one thing and do another. They're never serious about these things. And I wish that conservatives, like the rank and file conservatives, would understand that these grifters do not give a shit about anything they purport to care about. It's all just an act to farm engagement.
They don't
Now,
care.
the reactions that I showed you were mostly from smaller right-wing
They don't care
accounts.
about nothing,
I think that
guys. They don't
most
care.
larger accounts have been silent on this issue because they're embarrassed, unless they were joking, right?
They
Like
just wanted
Nick
your
Adams
money.
or Tim Pool. But their silence to me is a sign that they do feel embarrassed because this was something that mattered to them, right? Even though we made fun of it, they thought this was really important. They wanted to be able to assert their own cultural dominance, and to an extent, it was successful, at least when it comes to Bud Light. Now, to demonstrate why they actually think this is serious, we're going to look at a clip from Tim Pool's show where he talks about this betrayal. And, you know, he jokingly called it treason on Twitter, but in actuality, he's mad about this. And he had Laura Loomer, of all people, on his show, and she actually made the most serious point about this issue, that all of these companies that conservatives support have already gone woke in some way, shape, or form. But we're not going to look at that or give her credit. I want to look specifically at Tim Pool's explanation as to why these types of boycotts are crucial to conservatives, despite his initially half-serious response at first. Let's watch.
From TMZ. Kid Rock enjoys a Bud Light?
Oh, pussy.
So apparently Kid Rock was spotted at an event at the Sky Deck in Nashville Thursday night at Colt Ford's show drinking Bud Light. So a lot of people are saying it's probably the only beer they had or whatever, but I don't know. I guess I guess the point of the story is this is a guy who opened fire on Bud Light, said F you, who now I guess doesn't care all that much and is back on, you know, drinking it. Politics is downstream from culture. And the left has known this for years. That's why they heavily invest in Hollywood and music. It's why they ban, and like you got this big song right now, Rich Men North of Richmond. The reason it's big is because regular people have the ability to share a song that resonates with them. What do we get
We
from
just
corporate
talked about this,
mainstream
guys. The Richmond,
media? But
the Richmond
I don't
North
know.
of
I guess a
Richmond
lot-
bullshit.
I guess
They're
the
bringing
point of
that
the
up.
story is this is a guy who opened
stupid
fire on
fucking
Bud Light,
assholes.
said F you, who now I guess doesn't care all that much and is back on, you know, drinking it. Politics is downstream from culture. And the
Dumb
left has known this
fucks.
for years. That's why they heavily invest in Hollywood and music. It's why they ban, and like you got this big song right now, Rich Men North of Richmond. The reason it's big is because regular people have the ability to share a song that resonates with
That's
them.
bullshit.
What do
It's
we get
such-
from corporate mainstream
That song
media?
is
This weird woke garbage nonsense. You get
astroturfed.
Kim Petras and you get Sam Smith doing Satanism on stage. Then you get a guy in Appalachia singing about how they're screwing over the little guy. And
This is why conservatism has no good art.
Culture is what drives politics.
This is why artists are usually leftist or liberal.
It just
you know what I mean?
happen.
Like,
now,
or
I don't
like
necessarily disagree. I think that culture
like they're
does
not on the
influence
right
politics to an
'cause,
extent,
like,
but politics also
art on the right
influences
is fucking
culture.
trash.
A shift in support
They have
for gay
no
rights,
creativity,
yes,
no
led to more
imagination.
civil
They want to
rights for
arrest
gay
anybody
people,
who's different.
culturally.
So just
But
imagine
on the other
that.
side of the same coin, I think that gay people actually winning the right to marry shifted the culture because it normalized their relationships with the public, and now support for marriage equality is higher than ever. So I think that it does go both ways. But having said that, though, I am so thankful that Tim Pool brought up Oliver Anthony because he's at risk of being canceled as well. Now, for those unaware, Oliver Anthony is the country singer who went viral for his song Rich Men North of Richmond. And the song was hailed as a working class anthem because he talks about the struggle of the working man and how hard it is to pay the bills, which obviously is going to resonate with people. But it's also very right-wing coded and has multiple dog whistles and complaints about people who are living off of welfare. So, you know, how can you say that this is a working class anthem when people who are working full-time jobs still don't make enough to survive and therefore have to get welfare? So, I mean, that's a different discussion for a different day. But the reason why we're talking about him is because in his first interview since he went viral, well, he said something that is a little bit of a red flag to conservatives, and you're probably not going to notice why what he said is so problematic to them at first, but let's just watch and then I'll explain it when we come back.
What do you hope comes of the song in your music? I know you turned $8 million
He says
down.
that we're all,
you did a great
that
statement.
America
You
is
said
a
you don't want
melting
jets,
pot.
You don't want tour buses.
And
What do you
that's
want?
what makes America powerful, that we're all like mixed. And Republicans are fucking racist. They don't want to mix.
A lot of things that I see corporate media and education doing, which is making everyone identify each other's differences and not their similarities. I want people to appreciate each other and appreciate each other's struggles, and hopefully, hopefully just find the energy that was in this song and manifest it in people's own personal lives, and just trying to find similarities with each other instead of division. That's really all I want. I mean, I don't see our country lasting more than another generation the way we're headed. We've got to go back to the roots of what made this country great in the first place, which was our sense of community and we are the melting pot of the world, and that's what makes us strong, is our diversity, and we need to learn to harness that and appreciate it and not use it as a political tool to keep everyone
Republicans don't like that message.
Now, to
They're
me, when I
fucking
hear that,
racist.
I just think this man sounds like a hypocrite, because here he is preaching unity after his song went viral, and in that song, he implied that people living off of welfare are fat and lazy. But I mean, if your complaint is about how rich people are exploiting the working class, then why would you punch down at fellow working class members and imply that they're fat and lazy, right? You're waging class warfare on behalf of the wealthy that you're complaining about, right? So it doesn't really make sense. It's kind of incoherent ideologically speaking. But to right-wingers, what he said, it hit a lot differently. So I think that he tried to say what they wanted him to say, but he ended up fucking up the talking points that they typically use and ended up just sounding like a lib. So what he probably wanted to say, and this is all speculation, is that people who are fixating on systemic racism and identity politics, that's what's dividing people. It's the sort of argument against CRT that we hear from conservatives, where they'll complain that, CRT is divisive because you're fixating on the differences between white people and black people instead of our similarities, right? What about Martin Luther King's vow to have everyone treated the same? So that is a bad argument, because even though we're all human beings and we're the same, our lived experiences are very different. But that's besides the point, right? He didn't say that. He didn't say that CRT and identity politics is dividing people. He instead said that diversity is good. We're a melting pot, and diversity is our strength. Now, that is apparently controversial to the right, and this Twitter account explains why. Promoted algorithm-boosted based Redbeard hillbilly song guy was faking his accent and says diversity is our strength. So that right there is the problem. And it's apparently a problem because diversity is a threat to white people, according to white supremacist conservatives who have gained a lot of prominence since the rise of Donald Trump. And they always kind of resorted to dog whistles when they complained about diversity, right? But they've been much more explicit over the years and have since kind of moved away from dog whistles and are now just resorting to explicit racism, where they just straight up say, yeah, diversity is bad. Diversity is white genocide, which is inherently white supremacist. Now, the response to this person who complained about this guy was relatively mixed, but there were a lot of people who didn't like what he had to say there and wanted to cancel him because he simply said diversity is good. Like, again, I have to emphasize here, they're mad that he's not being explicitly racist, right? So here's some comments. Never buy into the hype right away. Always wait a little to see if it's legit. The CIA's Milli Vanilli. This one's actually funny, unironically. Now, others shared GIFs to express their disappointment. This person laughed at him using the word melting pot. This person says that they're out, and you get the point. All it took for some conservatives to cancel him was him simply vocalizing support
they're literally fucking
for diversity.
racist, guys. They're like, they will
very, very interesting world that we live in. And when I say
support,
interesting, I mean racist.
If you support,
now, if Oliver Anthony
if
learns
you let them
about
know that
this
you're
and
like
finds out that some conservatives were shocked to learn that he supports diversity,
every human,
well, maybe he should re-examine
so
the
much
lyrics
for all
to his
lives
song
matter,
and try to see why it might not appeal to everyone in the working class if you just go a little bit beneath the surface, right? Understand why they thought that he was on their team. But I mean, that's 2 cancellations in the same week, proving yet again that conservatives have always been the snowflakes, and they're the ones who are always hyper outraged about things that really normal people shouldn't get outraged about. And if you don't conform to their standards of what is and isn't anti-woke, you'll be excommunicated like that. But we'll have to see if Kid Rock and Oliver Anthony can get back in their good graces. But I mean, not a great week overall for country music, because we have 2 major stars in country getting canceled because one of them decided to drink Bud Light and another said that diversity is good.
Really, literally.
Woke ideology. Woke ideology. Woke ideology. Woke ideology. Woke ideology. Woke test. Woke ideology. Woke Olympics. Woke ideology. Woke.
That is so good, man. Alrighty. We are now. That was fun. Now we're gonna check out my buddy, my pal, Sensei Ninja Pig. With this cute little dog. Oh, look at that. I wanted to watch like his reviews of Gamersub. Speedrun. Let's watch. I'm not gonna do any tags. I'm just doing this.
So, I got an order of Gamersubs today. I got a cup and this, and I also bought a waifu cup sticker pack. I'm gonna open it for gits and shiggles.
Remember, guys, check out Sensei Ninja Pig on TikTok. I will put it down in the description.
See what I got.
He has a really cool room, I'm not gonna lie. I like your room, bro.
Got it. This one. This one. And this one. This one's reflective.
Oh shit, dude. I'm trying to collect some of those reflective ones.
So.
Good job, man. I'm
guys.
trying to cover my whole PC on some of the
This real
reflective
quickly.
stickers.
I got my Mega Mix. It is like 7 flavors. It's got Gamer Fart, Blowhole, Titty Milk,
Damn.
Cantaloupe, Cursed Energy, Mango, Dragon Fruit Punch. I think that's it. Putting 2 scoops in. call this swamp water.
Swamp water. Swamp water. You know who needs some swamp water? Sophia needs some swamp water. Sophia,
That is what this is. Dirty poo water.
Damn, that looks like poop.
Hey guys, just doing this really quickly. I got my mega mix. It is like 7 flavors. It's got gamer fart, blowhole, titty milk, cantaloupe, cursed energy, mango, dragon fruit punch. I think that's it. Putting 2 scoops in. I call this swamp water.
Alrighty. Oh, we saw this.
That is dirty poo water.
That does look like dirty
That's what
pool
this
water.
is.
Damn.
Dirty poo water.
Tastes alright. That's good.
Hey guys.
I really want the H3 cup when it comes out. The H3 cup, and I also want. I'm trying to get a pay money Wubby will be awesome, and maybe Amaranth. What else? What else? What else? This is pretty fun, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm enjoying
Hey guys. I'm stuck in the thing.
It's good
What I'm
content.
doing is finally gamer subs and milk. I have titty milk by
Gamer subs in milk.
and forth. Shut up, Stash. I know what you're gonna say. But yeah, got the shit.
What the fuck is this music? Oh, I was gonna say, is this the...
Tastes like a milkshake. I'll rate that 8 out of 10. This was also a kind of a request.
That's pretty good, man.
from
I agree.
Another guy, like, I can't remember his name. It was like something Ash. I'm gonna tag him. It's good. Hey guys.
I don't like the music, but Gamer sub. Let's check this out.
We're gathered here today to mourn the loss of a great cup. My limited edition Russian Badger cup.
No!
I dropped it last week while at work because of my fat butterfingers.
God, dude, what the
I was so upset. I just filled it. It died in the line of duty.
Bro, what the hell, man?
And of course, it had the worst flavor in it. So now, it joins the graveyard.
That flavor's
This cup,
cursed.
the lid is broken. I don't think I can show you the front, but that right there is broken. But I mourn a loss. But soon, I have been using my sneak cup. I don't think I've shown you guys. But soon, I will be, like, in a couple weeks, I'll be getting a new thing of gamer subs along with a really cool
Wow,
cup.
man. Wow.
And see ya. We're
It's
gathered
terrible.
here.
It's terrible. Remember, follow Sensei Ninja Pig and support him, guys. He's a great kid. Give our boy support.
Hey guys, I'm doing that thing where I mix gamer subs with things. Today I'm doing Dr. Tops. We get ice. A big chunk with small pieces should do fine. Then what I do? Sorry, I couldn't figure out if I
Someone
how to
said,
lock
bro,
this. Then what I do
nasty ass
is pour it
drink.
put the gamer subs in. Just putting 1 scoop. I'm gonna have to be very careful with this. Next, I have to shake this. Now that it's shaken, I put it in the sink. There we go. Go try it.
He don't know nothing.
Good. Most things, this flavor is good. 8 out of 10. Hey guys, I'm doing that thing where I mix gamer subs with things. Today I'm doing Dr. Tops. We get ice. A big chunk with small pieces should do fine. Then what I do? Sorry.
Alright. Let's watch the next one. He did some stitches. Jesus.
I just had this. Well, it's not random. I thought of this, but if they ever make like a Skate 4, like skateboarding game, they should add Jesus, but he's Jesus. I know some people aren't gonna understand this, but while he's skating, he says like edited Bible verses, to where it's like on the first day, God said, "Let there be light," so he could see where he was skating. I don't know, I just thought it'd be funny. I just saw Steve's post.
Yo, this is such a like stoner thought.
Well, it's not random. I thought of this, but if they ever make like a Skate 4,
are you fried, bro?
skateboarding game, they should add Jesus, but he's Jesus. I know some people aren't gonna understand this, but while he's skating, he says like edited Bible verses, to where it's like on the third day. On the first
totally
day,
stoner
God said, "Let there
vibes,
be
bro.
light," so he
Look.
could see where he was skating.
Look,
I don't know, I
what
just
type
thought
of
it'd be
thought
funny.
is that? That is such
I
a
just saw
stoner
Steve's
thought.
I just had this. Oh, it's not.
That's funny.
I just got the world's most realistic Spider-Man web shooter. Now apparently this.
Imagine if it was just like a radioactive spider that just jumped out and bit you.
I just got the world's most realistic Spider-Man web shooter. Now apparently this.
Yeah, for real, right?
I just got the world's most realistic Spider-Man web shooter. Now apparently this.
Tell you what, man, Hank gets all prettied
Imagine
up
if
and
it
then
was
old
just
them combing his hair all
a
off to the
radioactive
side, man.
spider that
Like
just
this,
jumped
like,
out
this my
and
good
bit
side,
you.
man. It's dang old pretty. Dang old
I just got the world's most realistic Spider-Man web shooter. Now apparently this.
I tell you what, man, his hair tight.
What the fuck? Oh, your dog's very cute. Aww. Hopefully I don't get copyright for your music, bro. Let's see. Part 4, gamer.
Hey guys, bit of a special episode today. I'm gonna be mixing gamer subs, black cherry.
Black cherry, okay.
But I haven't done it yet with Swiss Miss.
Oh!
I didn't have any other drinks. I forgot to grab one this morning.
Buddy, I don't know about that.
This might get a bit more traction.
I don't know about that.
Okay, so I guess I'm just gonna use
That sounds gross.
not one big scoop, because it's not a very big thing.
That sounds nasty.
It's that in there. Then
Bro, chocolate powder with fucking gamer subs powder.
I'm gonna stir it up because off camera, cause it'll probably take too long.
This is where I would understand if the guy said this is nasty. See? The other comment made no sense because the drink looked good. It was green and stuff.
So,
This though.
Been waiting a few minutes for this to cool down.
This is like death.
Appetizing. I'm not looking forward to drinking this. Okay, so now I'm gonna try it. So they're trying it. Exactly. It's like, what do I rate it?
What is that?
It's yeah. It is the drink.
Yummy.
For a second taste.
I'm so confused. That tastes so good though.
But it tastes
Damn.
so bad.
Okay. Tastes good, but bad.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's like unironically really good.
I want to recommend it, but it's like a sweet hot chocolate.
Oh, that's nice.
7 out of 10.
A sweet hot chocolate. Hot chocolate's supposed to be sweet, isn't it? It's chocolate. Chocolate's sweet. I mean, maybe not though. I don't know. It don't matter.
Hey guys, welcome to, I believe, part 4 of the series.
Guacamole gamer
Yeah.
fart or whatever, right?
No, part 5. Part 5. This is being filmed on a Sunday, and on these Sunday episodes, I always do something more interesting. Today, I
Wow.
have Pepsi. Now, I don't know how much Pepsi I'm gonna get out of this because it's mostly frozen. It's very cold.
Remember,
out.
guys, if you guys want this content on your own, come check out Sensei Ninja Pig,
Like it did.
the gamer subs chef.
So now I'm gonna drink this. It's very foamy. I'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, so the top layer is completely frozen. So now, I think it's gonna be a tradition. And when I buy another thing, Gamer Subs, I'm gonna buy this guacamole Gamer Fart, which is a strawberry lime flavor. Plus, there was nothing else that really would fit with this. Mix it up. Scoop. Pour. This is gonna be my energy drink for the day. Probably gonna.
Yeah, I wrote
Fortnite later.
if you put the chef
Alright,
outfit
I'm
on.
gonna come back a second. I'm gonna stir this a bit because it's partially frozen. Like, I will shake it. TikTok, this is a butter knife. There's nothing there. But take it and shake it. That was a big one. Yes, I will be doing milk in the future, and if any of these videos go viral, I will do pilk. Joke's on you, I like pilk. Oh, actually, it tastes really good. Tastes like the kind of Pepsi you would get at a movie theater, but of course with a strawberry lime flavor. Oh shit, I'm running out of time. I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. It's really good. You should try it.
I will try it
Sorry
out,
if I
man.
swore. I didn't mean to.
I will try it out. So look, I have a whole behind me, not the Donald Trump picture. If I move
Hey
my
guys,
camera, I gotta move my
welcome to
camera,
our
and I
part
will show
4
you
of the
guys
series.
my collection of hentai.
Yeah,
I love the artist that makes
part
not really
5.
hentai. but
Part 5.
Sexy anime.
This
You look
is
there, I
being
have
filmed on a Sunday,
some
and
gamer subs
on these
stuff.
Sunday episodes,
Cups and
I always
shit.
do something more interesting. Today,
There. I stopped
I
buying.
have Pepsi. Now, I don't know how much Pepsi I'm
I
gonna
have a
get out
bunch
of this because it's mostly frozen. It's very cold out. It's probably gonna explode.
get
similar
more.
to-
Yo, shout out! Gamer sub! Once I get some subs, you know who to hit up. Hit up your boy. Hit up your boy. Oh, get over here. Fixing my mic. All right, let's move on. Next, I want to see your computer with that little logo. That little logo with the man.
Yo, I'm really sorry, okay? What is wrong with you? Why are you blue? Yo, I'm really sorry, okay? What is wrong with you? Why are you blue?
I'm blue, da ba dee da ba die, da ba dee da ba die. All right, Sensei Ninja, send me your followers, buddy. Send me all your followers. I need followers. I need viewers from all ranges. Whoa, that's cool. But yeah, man, keep making these. Keep making some of these. Keep making some of these reviews, and I will watch it. I will be your fanboy. All right, let's move on. Next subject, Project 2025. This is very serious.
We are going to be prepared day one, January 2025, to hit the ground running as conservatives to really help the next president. This task in we are going to be prepared day one, January 2025.
These are the lunatics we got to watch out for.
As conservatives to really help the next president. This task in 2024 is too big for any one think tank. This has to be a movement. And what we've done is use our convening power heritage to bring the entire movement together. But what we're doing is systematically preparing
a lot of think tanks
to march into office and bring a new army of aligned, trained, and essentially weaponized conservatives ready to do battle against the deep state.
The Heritage Foundation and dozens of right-wing dark money organizations have come together to formulate Project 2025, which is a set of personnel and policy recommendations intended to guide the next Republican administration through their first 180 days in office. And if they successfully pressure the president to adopt everything on their wish list, America would look like a completely different country. They would dismantle the administrative state, expand the power of the executive, enact nationwide internet censorship, ban porn, and politically imprison LGBTQ+ people potentially. And should the next Republican president choose to pursue this unconstitutional agenda, he'd have the backing of the Supreme Court most likely. Now, all of this is moot if A, a Republican loses the 2024 election, or B, a Republican wins but chooses to ignore this agenda entirely. But if the Federalist Society has taught us anything, it's that Republicans always listen to well-funded right-wing think tanks because those are the organizations that their donors send money to, so why wouldn't they listen? And Ed Corrigan, who's one of the architects of Project 2025, casually explained why they're very confident that this is not going to be ignored.
This has been really a team effort. You got 50 different conservative organizations have contributed to this. That's what makes this a strong product. No presidential campaign or president is going to be able to ignore it.
no presidential campaign or president is going to be able to ignore it. And he's right about that. He said it in a very nonchalant way, but it's still very ominous nonetheless. But let's break it down. What is Project 2025? Well, the first order of business would be for them to expand the power of the presidency in order to lay the groundwork for unconstitutional policies that they really want to implement. As Bryn Tannehill of Dame Magazine explains, the mandate for leadership is a 920-page document that details how the next Republican administration will implement radical and sweeping changes to the entirety of government. This blueprint assumes that the next president will be able to rule by fiat under the unitary executive theory, which posits that the president has the power to control the entire federal executive branch. It is also based on the premise that the next president will implement Schedule F, which allows the president to fire any federal employee who has policy-making authority and replace them with the presidential appointee who is not voted on in the Senate. The president would directly manage and influence Department of Justice and FBI cases, which would allow him to pursue criminal cases against political enemies. Environmental law would be gutted, and states would be prevented from enforcing their own environmental laws. So there's a lot to this, and it's pretty complicated, so let me try to parse this out for you. What this basically means is that federal agencies which currently operate independently would lose that independence. Many federal agencies that they don't like would just be abolished or weaponized to their own liking. For example, they plan on gutting the EPA, predictably, and shifting them away from their focus on climate change entirely, while directing other agencies to expand fossil fuel infrastructure, like the Department of Energy, for example. And you're probably thinking, well, couldn't the president already effectively do that by just appointing a stooge or industry plan? I mean, we've seen this again and again. So why not just make somebody who is a fossil fuel CEO, for example, the head of the EPA? Well, the president could do that, but this is different because it goes further than that, because once they re-implement Schedule F via executive order, they also plan to clean house, which is very different than last time, because as Salon explains, by replacing federal employees with like-minded officials, Trump-era conservatives are planning to remove federal employees whom they perceive as obstacles to the president's agenda early on. This would avoid the pitfalls of Trump's first years in office and eliminate the possibility of any resistance a Republican president would encounter, the AP reported. And
they basically want to fire everybody.
Sort of organizational harmony.
They want to fire everybody that's in power right now, and then put in their own
Trump's
fucking psychopath
office, for
fascists.
example, because remember, he wanted to do a lot of really terrible things, but he couldn't. There are limits to the president's power, but this is kind of the answer to that. It's a way to address these obstacles that he encountered and remove them. And think about it this way. So remember when Bill Barr was Attorney General and he contradicted Trump's lies about the election, and he said that he's not going to open up a probe into the FBI's investigation of Trump's 2016 campaign? Like, he openly defied Trump, essentially. Well, Barr was able to do that because as the Attorney General, as the head of the Department of Justice, you have independence, you have autonomy, right? Trump can't influence what you do. He could simply fire you and replace you with somebody else who's more loyal. But even that power is limited because Trump tried to do this. Remember when Justice Department officials threatened to resign en masse when Trump considered replacing Jeffrey Rosen with Jeffrey Clark when he was trying to steal the election? I mean, that was really important. That stopped Trump from proceeding forward with his attempt to steal the 2020 election. But I mean, think about what would happen in that scenario if the president assumed direct control of the Department of Justice, and worse, replaced every legacy employee with Trump loyalists who would be less likely to defy him. I mean, you start to kind of see how this would become a threat to democracy directly, and why this would be much worse than last time. Because those existing checks that limit the president's power would simply not exist anymore under this philosophy, which they want to embrace. It would give him virtually unlimited power over the entire executive branch and every agency, and that is a problem. And Trump had authoritarian ambitions before, right? But the problem is that he didn't have the power or the know-how to actually pull off his dictatorial ambitions. But this time would be different, because many of the 300 plus conservatives involved in Project 2025 came from Trump's administration, and they would likely return for round 2 if he were reelected. And what's scary is that Trump has already embraced this vision for the executive. So if he's reelected, this will likely become a reality. So what they're doing is they're looking back at the obstacles that he faced the first time he was in the White House, and they're trying to eliminate all of those obstacles going forward so that way he can do all of the terrible things that he wants to do. But once they consolidate presidential power, they then move on to the second order of business, the implementation of policy. And a lot of that includes deregulation, giveaways to their donors that fund, this network, the traditional conservative things that you would expect. But there's also a component regarding conservative social policy, and it's a sort of wish list that would basically transform the United States into a Christian theocracy. And they're pretty explicit about this. So Dame explains, the social conservative wish list calls for ending abortion, diversity and inclusion efforts, protections for LGBTQ people, and most importantly, banning any and all LGBTQ content. In fact, the mandate for leadership makes eradicating LGBTQ people from public life its top priority. Its number one promise is to restore the family as the centerpiece of American life and protect our children. They are explicit in how they plan to do so. As you'll see in the paragraph below, they plan to proceed by declaring any and all LGBTQ content to be pornographic in nature. And this is a direct...
So basically, I would be imprisoned. I would go to jail or be fucking canceled or like have my YouTube channel shut down and like cops sent to my house for supporting LGBTQ rights and being an LGBTQ ally. These fucking Republicans are literally going far right, insane sicko mode, and they want to fucking stop anything that has to do with gay, trans, anything that isn't like fucking conservative, not out of the norms. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta be a straight white male, you gotta be a straight white cis female. It's like, what the fuck? They literally want to like cancel being, they want to stop anyone from like talking about LGBTQ anything. They literally like, they're scared that's making kids and other people like not afraid of LGBTQ, therefore they support their rights. So if you make them scared of those people, they won't support their rights because they're scared of them.
Quote
really
from Project 2025's document, quote, pornography manifested today and the omnipresent propagation of transgender ideology and sexualization of children, for instance, is not a political Gordian knot inextricably binding up disparate claims about free speech, property rights, sexual liberation, and child welfare. It has no claim to First Amendment protections. Its purveyors are child predators and misogynistic exploiters of women. Their product is as addictive as any illicit drug and as psychologically destructive as any crime. Pornography should be outlawed. The people who produce and distribute it should be imprisoned. Educators and public librarians who purvey it should be classed as registered sex offenders, and telecommunications and technology firms that facilitate its spread should be shuttered. That is absolutely chilling. But the question is, what would this look like in practice? And to be honest, nobody knows for sure. But at best, it looks like a nationwide implementation
Saudi
of
Arabia.
Don't Say Gay in all schools and a likely ban on gender affirming care in all 50 states. But at worst, this also could look like the literal imprisonment of anyone who is openly LGBTQ. Dame speculates it's also arguable that LGBTQ parents would be subject to arrest, imprisonment, and being put on sex offender registries for exposing children to pornography simply by being LGBTQ and having children. It could be argued as well that people who are visibly trans in public are pornographic or obscene because they might be seen by a minor. This understanding of intent is in line with the call to eradicate transgenderism from public life. So this is genuinely terrifying because we are looking at a situation where every single queer person and arguably queer allies would no longer be safe in this country. They could all be subject to
That's fucked up.
imprisonment or being on a sex offender list just because they're gay or trans. I mean, many people would be forced to leave, especially if they're in red states with governors not willing to protect them. This would create an LGBTQ refugee crisis of mass proportions. And that's what they want. But it gets worse because they want to crack down on the internet. Now, first, let's talk about the way that that would affect LGBTQ plus people and their allies. So with pornography being outlawed and all queer-related content being designated as porn, well, anyone who disseminates said pornographic material, like myself apparently, and the website that allows for said dissemination, like YouTube apparently, as well as the internet service provider that gives users access to this website that disseminates pornographic material, would all be subject to punishment or imprisonment at worst. In other words, if YouTube doesn't cleanse their website of pornographic LGBTQ+ content, then internet service providers would be forced to cut them off, which would effectively kill off all of these websites unless they comply. And LGBTQ content isn't the only thing that they would designate as porn. Let's be clear about that. Think of all of the movies and video games that would be censored if this all came to fruition. I mean, we're looking at a censorship regime here that's far worse than China's and more similar to Saudi Arabia's and the Taliban's. That's where we're at. That's what they're openly saying that they want. But if they tried to do this, there'd obviously be extreme pushback from blue states. But of course, they've thought about that too, and they have a plan. Dame continues, the organizations that drafted the mandate for leadership understand that blue states, which have sanctuary laws for transgender people, are unlikely to comply. It's difficult to imagine California arresting and prosecuting teachers, librarians, doctors, therapists, bookstores, virtual or physical, LGBTQ parents, and especially LGBTQ people merely for existing in public. This is why they include the following paragraph, quote, where warranted and proper under federal law, initiate legal action against local officials, including district attorneys, who deny American citizens the equal protection of the laws by refusing to prosecute criminal offenses in their jurisdictions. This holds true particularly for jurisdictions that refuse to enforce the law against criminals based on the left's favorite defining characteristics of the would-be offender, race, so-called gender identity, sexual orientation, etc., or other political considerations, e.g. immigration status. This is calling for the executive branch to use the Department of Justice to threaten prosecution of any local or state officials if they do not charge LGBTQ people and their allies with crimes under the pretense that they are breaking federal and state laws against exposing minors to pornography. If people at the Department of Justice refuse to go along with this, then they can simply be replaced under Schedule F. And we're really not even scratching the surface, because remember, this document is 900 plus pages long, and we're just looking at the LGBTQ policies. But think about the ways that they'd hamstring states' ability to provide women with abortions. Think about how this will impact people on welfare, people getting Social Security, Medicare, employment. I mean, the possibilities are endless, and every possibility ranges from a threat to democracy from an outright violation of democracy. And the only check on the president in this scenario would be Congress and our far-right Supreme Court. Don't really like those odds, right? Even if Congress tried to rein in the president's power and pass some sort of a law to stop this from happening, well, the Supreme Court could go along with it. They could embrace unitary executive theory and strike down that law on grounds that it's unconstitutional, and the president could continue to do this. It's a literal nightmare scenario. Like, imagine, do you think that Clarence Thomas or Samuel Alito would not go along with this? Of course they would. But having said that, though, before we get a little bit too down, this is only a wish list. Odds are they're not going to get 100% of the things that they ask for. But what if they get 50% or 25%? I mean, certainly if they tried this, there would be a massive legal battle with, judges striking it down initially and it making its way to the Supreme Court. So there would be time for us to prepare how we're going to respond to this. But regardless, even if they got 10% of it and Trump just did what he says he's going to do, which is expand the power of the executive, that is still very troubling. Consolidating executive power is not a new phenomenon because each president has continued to expand power. Everyone, Democrats and Republicans alike, Obama, Bush, Trump. But we're talking about a massive expansion of presidential power that gives the president virtually unlimited authority over the entire executive. But even if, in the best case scenario, they get nothing, none of this comes to fruition, and Trump doesn't even do what they say he should do with regard to taking control of the executive, well, I still think this is worth our attention, because this is the vision of 50 right-wing think tanks that have a lot of sway over Republican politicians. That's huge. They are telling us that this is what they want for our country: an end to U.S. democracy, a dictatorship with the Republican on top. And I think that they wrote Project 2025 with Trump in mind, but they'll take anyone. They'll take DeSantis, they'll take Nikki Haley, they will take anyone who is willing to do what they want to do. And if maybe they say we're going to endorse a candidate, give them lots of donations if they pledge to support Project 2025 in their first 180 days in office, well then this could give a little bit more teeth to this authoritarian manifesto, right? But the fact that this is what they want as soon as a Republican comes back into the White House means that we have to fight that much harder to keep a Republican out of the White House for as long as we can, to at least buy us some time, right? So, you know a little bit about Project 2025. Do with this information what you will.
That's terrifying. Now that we're done with Project 2025, we can go to Feinstein.
Let's talk about one of your two senators over there in California, Dianne Feinstein, who I feel like the calls for
Alright, so here's Dianne Feinstein. She's basically a senator for California that's so fucking old that she died. She literally died, and they would leave her in there. They left her in office. And just a few days ago, she died. I'm trying to find the story. Well, anyways, look, she fucking died, and like, you can tell she didn't have the mental faculties to stay in office. It was fucking crazy. Let's see, history. Where the fuck is it, man? I literally watched it like not too long ago. Now it's fucking doing this to me. Where the fuck? Where the hell is Dianne Feinstein? No one covered that shit yet? Okay.
Mrs. Feinstein. Mrs. Feinstein, aye.
All right. Well, this is it.
Mrs. Feinstein. Mrs. Feinstein, aye.
So she's supposed to say I. She like missed her fucking vote. Oh, I didn't know. So Dianne Feinstein, she's supposed to vote here. This
Note
is
the
how old
presence
she
of
is.
a quorum. We
She's
will
supposed
now
to
vote
vote.
to report the Defense Appropriations Bill favorably, subject
supposed to
to
say
amendment.
aye.
Clerk will call the roll.
That means yes or nay, no.
Senator Feinstein.
And she proceeds to go on a fucking tangent because she forgets where she is.
Say aye. Pardon me? Aye.
I would like to support a yes vote on this. It provides $823 billion. That's an increase of $26 billion for the Department of Defense. And
Senator Feinstein. Say aye.
pardon me?
Aye.
Yeah.
Just say
I would like to support a yes vote on this. It provides $823 billion. That's an increase of $26 billion for the Department of Defense. And it funds priorities submitted.
Yeah, just say aye.
Okay, just
Great,
aye.
Thank you.
Senator Durbin, Senator Reed.
Loser. Dummy. Get out.
This is an NBC News special report. Here's Savannah Guthrie.
Good morning. We come on the air with breaking news. Senator Dianne Feinstein, the longest serving female senator in U.S. history, has passed away. She was 90 years old. Two sources familiar with the matter confirming that this morning. Dianne Feinstein, first elected in 1992, representing the state of California for more than 30 years. She faced persistent health problems in recent years, leaving quite a legacy as well. NBC's Andrea Mitchell with a look back at her life.
Dianne Feinstein, a leading woman senator for generations, whose political career in California was launched by tragedy. November 1978, San Francisco Mayor George Moscone and Board of Supervisors member Harvey Milk were assassinated in City Hall. Then Board of Supervisors President Dianne Feinstein tried desperately to save Milk's life.
Both Mayor Moscone and Supervisor Harvey Milk have been shot and killed.
The event cementing her passion for gun reform. She was elected mayor and became a national figure on Democratic nominee Walter Mondale's shortlist for running mate before he chose Geraldine Ferraro.
I've had an opportunity now to be the first woman and the first mayor to be asked to go through an interview process. And I view that as a major opening of a door and something that's very important to do.
It was the Clarence Thomas hearings before an all-male Senate Judiciary Committee in 1991 that got Feinstein to the Senate.
Dianne Feinstein versus climate. Watch this shit. This is another reason why she fucking sucks. Two more topics and then I'm
We're standing at
asking for the new Green Deal, and we're trying to present this letter that we've made to Senator Feinstein.
We are trying to ask you to vote yes on the Green New Deal.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We have our own Green New Deal piece of legislation.
Well, we're trying to promote the Green New Deal.
Well, there are reasons why I can't, because there's no way to pay for it.
Yes, there is.
That's
We have tons of money going to the military. A lot of it is going to the military.
But we have come to a point where our Earth is dying, literally, and it is going to be a pricey and ambitious plan that is needed to deal with the magnitude of that issue. And so we're here asking you to vote yes on the resolution for the Green New Deal, because that is the only
That resolution will not pass the Senate, and you can take that back to whoever sent you here.
Some scientists have said that we have 12 years to turn this around.
Well, it's not going to get turned around in 10 years. What we can do,
Senator, if
is
this
put
doesn't get turned around in 10 years, you're looking at the faces of the people who are going to be living with these consequences.
The government is supposed to be for the people and by the people and all
You know
for the
what's
people.
interesting about this group is I've been doing this for 30 years. I know what I'm doing. You come in here and you say it has to be my way or the highway. I don't respond to that. I've gotten elected. I just ran. I was elected by almost 1 million vote plurality. And I know what I'm doing. So, maybe people should listen a little bit.
I hear what you're saying, but we're the people who voted you. You're supposed to listen to us. That's your
How old are you?
job.
How old
I'm
are you?
16. I
Well,
can't
you didn't vote for me.
Well, I'm 24.
It doesn't matter. We're the ones who's going to be
Words
impacted.
mean something.
It doesn't matter. We're going to be the ones who are impacted.
I understand that. I have 7 grandchildren. I understand it very well.
Senator, the cost of not taking this action is far higher than the cost of what the Green New Deal will be. And there
Here's
is
what-
enormous popularity for this bill around the
Okay.
whole country.
Here's
And we're
what
asking you to
we
be
are
brave and
proposing.
do this for us and for your grandchildren.
Here's what I do propose. And here is the resolution that I think has a chance to pass. So we'll give each of you a copy. You can take a look at it. And I'm trying to do the best I can, which was to write a responsible resolution.
Any plan that doesn't
has-
take bold,
Okay.
transformative action is not going to be what we need.
Well, you know better than I do.
Why don't
So
you
I think one day you should run for the Senate.
Great. I
And
will.
then you do it your way.
But by that time,
in the meantime,
there's
I
going to be
just,
a big problem.
I
We
just
have a
won a
letter
big
for you.
election. We will give you a resolution that's thoughtfully worked out, that has a chance of passing, and which does what you want.
Can they read this to you, though?
This lady is such a demon, man. This lady is such a demon, dude. I'm glad she's dead. Bye-bye. I don't think Earth needed you anymore. Alright, well, there's Dianne Feinstein died. Bye-bye. John Fetterman! The hell happens to the music?
Prepare yourself for this discourse, y'all. We're going to have a lot more of this discourse time and time and time again. I can feel it. I can sense it. It's not going away. It's just not. So John Fetterman is now getting ripped over the fact that he's been in the Senate a number of times, both doing press conferences, taking votes, etc., and he's worn gym shorts and a hoodie. He's worn the John Fetterman costume, let's call it. So the right had an absolute meltdown over this fact. So this is in the New York Post. The quote in the headline is, "Unprofessional and an insult." Senator John Fetterman has been accused of showing a lack of respect after bringing his hoodies and gym shorts to Washington, despite one media outlet calling it a sign the Pennsylvania Democrat is making a strong recovery from depression. All right, let me pause there. Yeah, the media could reel that in a little bit. What are you talking about? Dressing in gym shorts and a hoodie is not an indication one way or the other that he's getting better from depression or he's still depressed. It's just how dude dresses, right? That's just how he dresses. So to take any grand conclusion away from that, I think is kind of silly and definitely speculative. Fetterman, 53 years old, who is still dealing with speech and auditory processing issues as a result of a stroke, was released in March from Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, where he had checked himself in for treatment. Since returning to the Senate in mid-April, the former Pennsylvania lieutenant governor has often been seen wearing the informal duds instead of the jacket and tie required for male senators on the floor. To circumvent the rule, the 6'8" Fetterman cast votes from the doorway of the Democratic cloakroom or the side of the entrance to the Senate floor, according to the Associated Press. In the same report, the wire service cited sources close to Fetterman who said his relaxed, comfortable style is a sign that the senator is making a robust recovery. So in other words, people close to Fetterman made that argument and the media parroted that point. I don't know if the media was making it also themselves, but the people close to Fetterman are saying pro-Fetterman things, like, oh, this is actually a good sign. That's the point they're making. Fetterman even kept his hoodie on for a news conference on the debt ceiling last week with 4 Democratic colleagues clad in suits standing alongside him. So look, I got to be honest with you guys. These pictures are absolutely hilarious. And the first time I saw them, I got a good chuckle out of them. So here you see roughly 8'4" John Fetterman standing there in his hoodie with his basketball shorts on. And you see all these other senators around them with their suits and ties. He looks like he was digitally put in after the fact.
Yeah.
He looked like they got some CGI experts who were like, let's just pretend Fetterman was there and throw him in there. He's let me show you the other picture. Here you go. Look at this. Look at these shorts, man.
Get it, boy. Get it, Fetterman.
They continue here. He's setting a new dress code. Vermont Senator Peter Welch joked to the AP. He was struggling, and now he's a joyful person to be around. However, not everyone finds Fetterman's informal style so charming. Quote, John Fetterman's attire in the Senate perfectly summarizes Democrats' lack of respect for Americans and our institutions, tweeted conservative comedian Tim Young. First of all, conservative comedian is like a contradiction in terms. Second of all, you're going to talk about respect for institutions and say the Democrats lack them? Excuse me, what was the biggest story, arguably, of the past however many years? January 6th, where the Republicans tried to overthrow the results of an election because they didn't like the outcome. And you want to talk about institutions? Not respecting institutions? Trump lost by 7 million votes, yet all of his little sycophants were out there saying, no, we won. We won, and we're going to overturn the election, even though there were 60 court cases saying that we're wrong. And you want to talk about institutions? You want to talk about respect for institutions? Drop the comedian part of your title, bro. You're just a conservative. That's all you are. You're not funny. Is that supposed to be? You know what? I take it back. You are funny. That's a funny-ass point. Because that's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. In fact, the problem with the Democrats is that they believe too much in institutions. Democrats of yesteryear, like LBJ, like FDR, sometimes they snubbed their nose up at the institutions and said, no, screw you. FDR said of all the moneyed interests, the economic royalists, I welcome their hatred. I'll override them. I will crush them with my power as president, and I will fight for working people. Today's Democrats, Biden's like, I can't do anything positive because it would besmirch our glorious institutions, yes. Our institutions, yes. We're seeing it right now with the debt ceiling. Biden could subvert this institutional gridlock and say, 14th Amendment. We're just getting rid of the debt ceiling because I have the authority to do it under the U.S. Constitution. He's not doing that. Why? Because the history is that they haven't used that path to do it. So he goes, I got to respect our institutions and negotiate with Republicans who want to cut every program for working people. God damn it, man. God damn it. Let's continue. Quote, he was healthy. He could perform all of his job abilities normally, according to doctor's letter during the campaign. Now he must be accommodated and allowed to wear a hoodie and gym shorts or he will fall back into crippling depression, reacted Spectator contributor editor Stephen L. Miller. This is how you treat a 5-year-old, by the way. Quote, AP has an excuse for why Fetterman dresses like he crawled out of a dumpster, and it's a doozy, cracked WABC radio host Bo Snerdley. That was Rush Limbaugh's former right-hand man, now totally irrelevant, and also happens to be man with funniest name in the world. Bo Snerdley? Okay. Quote, voting from the doorway of the Senate chamber because you won't give up your clown outfit is unprofessional and an insult to Pennsylvania voters, raged another user. Resign now and let the voters select a better senator. You're so brave, you're so strong for saying these things, telling the truth. Quote, it's now unreasonable to expect a senator to be able to communicate and wear a dress shirt, another Twitter commentator said. We've turned the Senate into a rehab facility and the press thinks that's fine, added a third. Not all Republicans are unsympathetic to Fetterman. Senator Katie Britt, a Republican of Alaska, reportedly bonded with him over having children of a similar age and the fact that Britt's husband, Wesley, is the same height as the Pennsylvania senator. Britt also visited Fetterman while he was struggling, undergoing treatment at Walter Reed. Quote, when I walked in that day, his energy and demeanor was totally different, she said, adding that he's now loud and outgoing. Fetterman even yelled, Alabama, at her. Oh, I guess she's from Alabama, not Alaska, my bad. At her down a hallway when he caught sight of her last week, giving her fist bumps and asking about her family. That shows you the difference the treatment can make. It's just incredible to see, Britt told the outlet. Look, all reports are this guy was suffering from severe depression. He went to Walter Reed. They got him on some sort of, medical regimen. I mean, I think he's probably taking some strong antidepressants, maybe doing talk therapy as well. It does seem to be the case that he has genuinely improved, which, by the way, it's a good lesson out there for everybody. Don't be ashamed. Like, if you're depressed, I mean, nobody would look down on you if, like, you just catch a virus, right? Or some other illness, bacterial infection, whatever, or you have some autoimmune. Nobody looks at you like, it's a lack of will. But there's the same thing with your brain. Whether it's PTSD, severe anxiety, depression, or whatever, you could just have a thing. It's not a moral failing on your part. So just go get help because you'll feel a lot better. So there's no reason not to. There's no harm in it. There's no shame in it whatsoever. A lot of people, try to put that on the situation, but there is no shame there. So I think it's a wonderful thing that he got better. Now to the dress code thing, what's my takeaway?
Fuck the dress code. Who gives a fuck?
Whoop-de-freaking-do. Couldn't care less. Now look, I like looking official and spiffy every now and then, right? Most of the time when I do this show, I'm wearing a button-down shirt. And one of these jackets. It depends on the studio I'm in or whatever, because sometimes the certain chair will like puff up the back of your jacket and you look weird. You look like you're like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, like this. So it depends on the setting I'm in, but I like to wear this stuff as much as possible. But also, and everybody who knows me will tell you this, dog, when I'm doing the show, I'm usually wearing slippers. And in many instances, I'm wearing sweatpants. Now, I try to match the jacket with the sweatpants. You guys can't really see the legs, so I don't really care about the bottom part, right? But I'm like half Fetterman, half trying to care and look a little more professional. That's what I am. So I'm like right smack dab in the middle. And as somebody who's right smack dab in the middle,
who cares?
Because here's the deal. Don't we have better things to talk about? Don't we have better things to debate? This is going to be the outrage of the day. This is going to be you wore cloth on your body that's not the cloth that's the approved version of the cloth, and I'm not going to stand for it, sir.
Yeah, it's fucking
Nobody cares,
nonsense.
Bro.
There's
Nobody cares
bigger
about
fish to
your
fry,
take
bigger issues to worry
on
about.
what Lurch is wearing. Literally, nobody gives a shit. You're disrespecting our institutions. From the same people who were doing apologetics for the Stop the Steal people who tried to do a literal coup. Stop the approval of an election, which was won by 7 million votes. I don't want to hear shit about institutions from you guys, okay? But now, having said all that, defending Fetterman on wearing this stuff, there's something legitimate to go after him for this week. I don't know how many of you guys have seen this or not, but John Fetterman apparently did not sign on to the new rollout and the new Medicare for All bill. Excuse you?
Come on, Fetterman.
Excuse you?
Come
You
on,
campaigned on this. This was one of the things that you ran on, which made the left like you.
Come on, Fetterman. What are you doing?
And
man?
now they did a whole press conference launching the new Medicare for All bill. It was a big deal. It's like, hey, we're still fighting for this stuff, and a bunch of people signed on to it. All the usual suspects were there. But John Fetterman did not sign on to the new Medicare for All bill. You wanna go after John Fetterman? By all means, have a field day. Knock the crap out of him on that. I hope you call his office. I hope you're loud with him. I hope you say, this is a betrayal. You stabbed us in the back. You want to know why? Because it is a betrayal. You did stab us in the back. But this just shows you how hollow our politics are. That instead of talking about the substantive policy that he backed off of, Lord only knows why, we're talking about you wore basketball shorts. Oh, my goodness.
I gotta call the Fetterman office.
How could you? Look, the fact of the matter is the Senate and the House, they are feigning seriousness. It's kabuki theater. Why, I can't be corrupt. I can't be an idiot. I'm wearing a suit and tie. Yes. No, you are corrupt. And most of you are idiots. And you're not fooling me with your show, with your clown show. It's not a head fake enough for me to think, oh, they must be serious. Look at their attire. No. So in a sense, Fetterman dressing like that is more honest. He's dressed schlubby, because he is, and he feels schlubby, right? And it also happens to be the case that he just stabbed the movement in the back with this move on Medicare for All. So even though I'm defending Fetterman on the dress thing, I am most certainly not defending him on backing down on Medicare for All. And neither should you. And the conversation should be over that. Should not be over, you wore a hoodie, and now I got eye cancer. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And none of you really give a shit. It's all fake. It's all fake outrage. Oh, how could you? Please. Nonsense.
Thank you, Secular Talk. I love you. I love Kyle Kalinski. Let's check this out. It was 20 hours ago. Fetterman proposes a bill.
So we had a media
John
cycle
Fetterman
that was about 3 or 4 days long,
student debt,
where they could not stop talking about John Fetterman's basketball shorts and his hoodie. And of course, the reason why this was a story is because Chuck Schumer loosened the dress code in the Senate to accommodate John Fetterman. Now, there was a whole lot of outrage over this. A lot of people on the Republican side hated it. Joe Manchin tried to make a big deal out of this and virtue signal about how this is not right, I'm unbecoming of the institution or whatever. What I find so hilarious about Manchin saying that in particular is this is the guy who is single-handedly responsible for destroying the extension of the child tax credit. What that means is Joe Manchin single-handedly, I'm not kidding here, increased child poverty in this country by 40%. Biden was willing to extend the child tax credit. Other Democrats were willing to extend the child tax credit. They could have done it. Manchin was the single person, hey Phoebe, who came in and said, no, not going to do it. So, homie virtue signals about wearing a suit and tie like he's a special person, like he's a good person, when he increased child poverty colossally. Millions of more kids are in poverty because of Joe Manchin. So I don't want to hear your thoughts on what's moral, what's ethical, what's just vis-a-vis dress codes, asshole. Right? So the media was talking about this a lot too. Look, I have no problem with them loosening the dress code. My thinking is like, these people are unserious to begin with, and the fact that they got to wear suits and ties is almost like papering over the fact that they're unserious. They're like portraying themselves as more serious than they are. So I'm fine with them loosening the dress codes. My ideal scenario would be wear the suit and tie, but you have to wear logos of who your donors are. Because then we know who's representing who. It's very obvious right in front of us. And the politicians who are not corrupted don't have to wear any logos, so they're the only ones wearing a regular suit and tie, and you know that they're the good ones, right? All right. Sorry, Stinky, I can't keep petting you. She refuses to go away. All right, so week-long or 3 or 4 days long coverage of Fetterman and his dress, and everybody's pissed off about it. Well, now Fetterman does something actually very substantive, and I dare you to go look and find extended coverage of this. You're not going to find it. Senator John Fetterman and others introduced bill to cancel all school lunch debt. So it's Fetterman, Sheldon Whitehouse, Peter Welch. They introduced this bill, the School Lunch Debt Cancellation Act. Here's what they say.
That's
3
really
U.S.
good.
senators
Fetterman
have introduced
do
a bill
that,
that
and
would
then
cancel
get
student
back
lunch
to the
debt across the
fucking
nation. Fetterman, alongside
Medicare
Sheldon
for
Whitehouse
all
and Peter
thing.
Welch,
Sign up to
introduced
that,
the School
Fetterman.
Lunch
What the
Debt
fuck you
Cancellation
doing,
Act
bro?
last week. School lunch debt is a term so
I know you're
absurd, this is a
depression.
quote,
We're all
that
going
it
through a lot of
shouldn't
shit
even
right now.
exist, Fetterman said in a press conference. That's why I'm proud to introduce this bill to cancel the
I love
nation's
you, though,
student
but
meal debt
come on,
and
man.
stop humiliating kids and penalizing hunger. It's time to come together and stop
America's on
playing
the
political
brink of
games with
fascism. You're not gonna
Americans'
throw a
access
bone
to
to the American
food.
people.
September is Hunger Action Month, and I'm proud to be introducing this bill to help working families now while we work to move our other priorities to combat food insecurity in our nation. During the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, federal lawmakers made the move to provide free lunch for every public school student in America. That specific program expired last fall, but many states have been rolling out their own universal free school meal programs and have seen sizable results. Even schools that don't offer free meals usually won't turn away hungry students. Instead, they will feed them and collect payment later, leading to school lunch debt. There are over 30 million children in the U.S. who can't afford their school meals. Let me repeat that. 30 million kids can't afford their school meals, which contributes to the
30 million,
national
bro.
public
That's
school meal debt
not-
totaling a staggering $262 million
That should not
a
be
year.
a thing.
In Pennsylvania alone, there are nearly 500,000 food insecure children who collectively owe nearly $80 million in debt. Meanwhile, child poverty in the U.S. more than doubled last year. We just talked about that. That's the fault of Senator Manchin in particular. So guys, stop and think about it. It's only $262 million. We're going to cover a story a little bit later today about the $1.7 trillion program for the new F-35 fighter jet. And the thing doesn't even work all the time. And we're still throwing money at it, right? All this money we can waste on all this nonsense, corporate tax cut, corporate subsidies, etc. $262 million is a drop in the bucket for our federal government. And if we were to eliminate this student lunch debt, think about how much this would help struggling, working families. It would be gigantic. It'd be gigantic. And so, here's Fetterman doing this, and here's the reaction of the media. But he wears basketball shorts, bro, and a hoodie, bro. Let's talk about that for another 3 weeks. God, I hate them so much. They're just not serious. They don't focus on serious things. They don't focus on policy. They just don't. So, by the way, just to give you some more information on this here, as of right now, I believe there are 6 Democratic states that did free school meals for kids. Some of those states, it's free school breakfast and lunch. Some of them, I believe it's just free school lunch, but it's 6 Democratic states. I believe 9 are in the process of doing it. Again, all of the states that are doing free school meals for kids are Democratic states. Now, at the same time that's happening, what's called the Republican Study Committee, which is about 3/4 of the Republicans in the House of Representatives, they released their list of priorities for this next legislative session. And one of the first things on the list was to ban any state in the country from doing free school breakfast or lunch for kids. I want you to stop and think about that. I want you to stop and think about that.
That's fucked up.
At the same time, Democratic states are moving forward with free school meals for kids. Republicans are not only not doing free school meals for kids, they want to ban anybody, even Democratic states, from doing free school meals for kids. There is no equivalence. There is no, they're both bad, and maybe there's like minor differences. No. These are huge differences. Huge. And here's Senator Fetterman and 2 other Democratic senators stepping forward and saying, let's get rid of this whole concept of student lunch debt. Couldn't agree with them more. This absolutely should pass. If Biden and the Democrats had any political sense about them, they would make a big issue of this. Campaign on it, talk about it, do interviews where you bring it up. Hammer the Republicans over it. Because we're pro-family, we're pro-kid. Really? You want them to have student lunch debt. And by the way, while we're at it, while we're having this conversation, bring up a bill to eliminate all medical debt in this country. Right? Like, these are basic things that we're talking about here. Basic things. School lunch debt shouldn't exist. Medical debt shouldn't exist. These positions are not radical. They're not. We're not here talking about Viva la Revolution. Let's have the workers own all the means of production. Let's nationalize every industry. That's not what we're talking about. This is very basic, moderate, common sense, straightforward things. No student lunch debt, no medical debt. Here we have some Democrats who are fighting for it, and massive credit to them. And I want to reiterate the main point here, which is the media is not going to say a word about this. All the cable news, TV, talking heads won't say a word. They talk endlessly about Fetterman's basketball shorts and his hoodie, and how unserious that is, right? And how, oh my God, this makes the Senate look bad. But here's the guy doing a good job as a senator, and mum's the word. We need to primarily focus on policy. I'm not saying the horse race stuff doesn't matter. I'm not saying you can't bring up other things as well. But you have to focus on policy, and they won't do it. You have to come to some asshole on YouTube like me to bring you the reality of what's happening on the ground. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
Okay. Okay. Ok, ma. Bye. Te amo. Tú también. No trabajes muy duro. Bye. Jesus, it seems like everybody's calling me. There's our podcast. Let's watch now. What the fuck did I do, man? Did I?
So we had a media cycle that was about 3 or 4.
Shut up. I'm like spacing out because I'm so bored. I'm drunk on board. The world's falling to shit. I feel bad for Fetterman, but he needs to fucking sign the Medicare for All bill, Fetterman. What are you doing? Anyways. Let's watch Josh Shapiro. Shapiro. Let me see. Shapiro, let's go. 10 days ago. Let me see. Where the hell? All right. Anyways, I might have to do this. Oh yeah, Shark 030. I love Shark 030. Shark 030 made a video about this basically. I think. Maybe. Yeah.
Yo, did you all see Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro? Shapiro's been in the news recently. I've been seeing a lot of like Shapiro, but apparently it's not Ben Shapiro, the evil Shapiro. It's Josh Shapiro, the good Shapiro, the light side Shapiro. That's him. Who's been in the news recently? Because
I want to have fun, classic Rick and Morty adventures like in the old days.
Then we'll get along fine, Fascist Morty. For starters,
Anyways,
I just need to get to Fort Pojulan Prime.
Why I want you to go! Because a day ago, he announced that they're going to be pushing for automatic voter registration. So in Pennsylvania, now, when you turn 18, you'll automatically be registered as a voter, and then you can just vote, you know?
That's
something
awesome.
that very smart, non-stupid people would all be in support of. Because it just makes total. You shouldn't have to do extra work to exercise your rights. It should just be given to you, right? A good Shapiro. Yeah, you didn't know about Josh Shapiro, really? The good Shapiro, yeah. Rust Belt's been pumping out W's recently. Rust Belt's been pumping W's, like Michigan, Minnesota, obviously Minnesota. All right, socialist dreamscape at this point. Obviously, Minnesota's been giga-based. Wisconsin's been pumping out baseness on a small degree, but a decent amount. They've been working on it. Just got to fix Indiana and Ohio. Listen, that's a long-term project. It's not too bad, but that's a long-term project. 4 out of 6 ain't bad.
Yeah.
4 out of 6 ain't bad.
We're trying.
Listen,
guys.
the blue wall just got 10 feet higher, if I'm going to be honest with you. But with that being said, CNN and its like right-wing lurch has made it difficult for them to see anything past the dollar signs of the new like Warner Bros. Discovery boss who wants CNN to be like a conservative hellscape. And that's why CNN's the lowest rated show, the lowest rated program these days, kind of period. But anyways, with that being said, take a look at this.
Well, some very big news in voting rights in a very key swing state. Pennsylvania's governor has just announced his state will now automatically register eligible residents to vote when they get a new state-issued ID or driver's license. Now, 23 other states plus Washington, D.C. have some form of automatic voter registration, but few of them are likely to play as pivotal a role in the next presidential election as Pennsylvania.
Well, Michigan, that's probably one that play a really pivotal role. Georgia, it's literally right there. Virginia as well, to a much lesser extent, but that's still. I think like Georgia and Pennsylvania would be like the. Okay.
Joining us now is Pennsylvania's governor, Josh Shapiro. Governor, we appreciate your time. I kind of want to dig in on the implementation of all this in a minute, but one of the primary criticisms we heard yesterday when this was announced from Republicans in state legislature was, why didn't you go through that? Why didn't you go through a legislative process, work with the other side on this? Why move forward on your own?
Because they don't want lives to be better. Republicans don't want people's lives to be better, so that's why they don't like automatic voter registration. There's no reason to be against automatic voter registration. There's no factual, logical reason to do it. If you're thinking of it in the form of what's best for the people of your state and or the country as a whole, it does make perfect logical sense when you think of it in this form of Republicans do better when voting is suppressed, and so having more people go out to vote, and it's easier for them to vote. Having people who find it harder to have like the specific voter IDs that you would be legislating for and against at specific times that they would have to go there. Yeah, of course. Those types of people are more likely to vote Democrat because Democratic voters are usually poorer and have more things going on with their lives than Republicans, who are usually richer, have more money, and have more time. And so it's easier for them to do things like waddle their ass to a voter registration booth, when Democratic voters more likely than not want to do things like take care of their children more, or have to worry about going to work or paying for bills or something along those lines. So they don't have all the time to be able to stand in line as long as Republican voters do in general. And so yeah, by that very logic, it would make perfect sense why they wouldn't want automatic voter registration. And so that's why they fight against it. But there's no other reason for it, because if you think that it increases the amount of fraud, that's just not true. Like, we'd still know if somebody is voting illegally if they get automatically registered to vote. It's pretty easy to keep up with that. That's why voter fraud isn't a real issue in this country. It's very hard to actually do it.
What's your response to that?
Well, let's be clear about something. I've been very open during my campaign and my time as governor about my belief that we should be an automatic voter registration state. We worked on the process. I'm well within my legal authority, and we put out a process that is secure and safe. It goes through our DMV process, which already includes safeguards to ensure that the person registering to vote is eligible to vote. This is an important way to expand voter participation, which I think in turn strengthens our democracy. I'm firmly on the side of promoting and protecting our democracy. If there are those that want to make it harder for people to vote, then they're going to have to account to that. But the bottom line is I'm well within my legal authority. This is good for our democracy, good for voter participation.
You mentioned what the DMV or what checks there are, right, from the DMV, et cetera. I just was wondering if you could please respond directly to Stephen Miller, former Donald Trump aide, who tweeted this. I can promise you there will be no citizenship verification. Just want to give you a chance to respond to.
What? Why would you be on the voter registry to vote if you weren't a citizen? Me when I lie? Me when I'm stupid?
Directly to that.
Yeah.
Also, if I'm going to be honest with you, I think people who aren't citizens should be able to vote in local elections. I think just because you're not I think if you have some residency there, just because you're not a citizen does not mean that you shouldn't be able to vote. I think you should be able to vote in super local elections, municipal, city council, stuff like that, because it directly affects you. And I think that if you're on American soil, then you abide by the Constitution and you are granted constitutional rights because you're on American soil. Period. That's what I think, and that's minimum. I've heard some arguments about them just being able to vote. Period. But there's back and forth with that.
Look, I'm not going to respond to Stephen Miller.
That's true. The guy is a literal Nazi. Guy is a literal skinhead fucking Nazi who wanted to torture people at the border. If you ever wanted to know why the border policy was so specifically evil under Donald Trump, things like trying to force feed Muslims pork, children getting abducted, the uterus stealer, doctor, deadly chemicals inside of the concentration camps. One of the people who specifically worked for that to happen was Stephen Miller while he was working under Donald Trump, because he wanted there to be as much suffering at the border as humanly possible, because he thought that would lead to better outcomes for people coming here less. So if we just torture more people, maybe they'll think twice about the torture that they're experiencing at home versus the torture that we could give them in the concentration camp. So that was his whole goal. And that shit was insane.
That guy's a dope.
Not it's necessarily much better under Biden or under Obama, but it was specifically cruel under Trump.
Who can't tell the truth.
I'm not asking you about Stephen Miller, Governor, but just about what he raises, because I think he raises a question others may raise. So just to the substance of what he said.
Right. Well, he doesn't raise any substance. Here is the actual substance. When you go to get a driver's license, when you go to renew your driver's license, you have to bring identifying documents in order to be able to secure that driver's license. The same documents are required in order to be able to register to vote. We're relying on a system that already has safeguards built into it to allow someone to be automatically registered to vote. If you choose not to register to vote, if you want to opt out, that's perfectly fine. But we think we need to make it easier for eligible voters to participate in our democracy, and that's exactly what our system does here. Listen, Poppy, I went to court more than 40 times to defeat people like Stephen Miller and others who tried to thwart the will of the people here in Pennsylvania, who made up all kinds of ridiculous claims.
It was crazy,
after the
bullshit
2020 election. And I won every single time in court and defended the will of the people here in Pennsylvania, defended the...
Yeah, I had to get my SSN. Yeah, it's crazy, ain't it? I had to bring out identifying documentation. You had to bring out identifying documentation to be able to vote. Sorry, to be able to have a driver's license to begin with. So there's already a check. Well, you want a double, triple, quadruple check? Do you want a prostate check to see if to check up their butthole to see if it has a little foreign flag in it to see if they're able to vote? What the fuck are you talking about? It seems like at the end of the day, what you're really mad about is that more people are voting, period. That's just me though.
The right to vote. And here in Pennsylvania, we value our freedom, we value our democracy, and voting is central to that. And now it's easier for eligible voters to have their voices heard here in the Commonwealth.
And I think that's why it's important for people to hear from you, all the checks that are there.
It brings up something I've been thinking about when you saw the response to this, and from who was responding, the experience you had back in 2020 and obviously and running in 2022. The concern that this just feeds kind of new threads for the same people who questioned the results in 2020. Now they can say, hey, look, they did this on their own. He did it unilaterally. This was all to kind of, I don't know, get votes to rig the election.
Hey, listen.
Listen, it's just, here's the thing. Conservatives love this new phrase. It's called buying votes. And what they mean by buying votes is that you do things that your constituents actually want and that improve their lives materially. That's what conservatives think buying votes are. Since conservatives don't do anything to improve the material lives of their voters at any point in time, especially on like a national level, I get the idea of actually helping your voters, doing things like what the Constitution says the government is for, like allowing you to pursue happiness. This is why conservatives are against things like universally feeding school children. That's why they're against things like free lunches, right? That's why they're against things like improving social spaces for kids. That's why they're against things like why a bunch of conservative governors were specifically against extra money to people who are unemployed during the COVID pandemic while they were getting their jokey pokey, their clot shot. You know what I mean? That's why they're against that. That's why they purposely opted their states out of the Obamacare and Medicare expansions. Medicare and Medicaid expansions. That's why they did that personally, to make sure that their constituents suffer more. That's why places like Mississippi, they don't spend money that was given to them to rebuild infrastructure, and they just sit on it because they simply just don't care. They don't care. They never have, they never will care. It's not something that's on their to-do list. They've shifted completely to being the party of the culture war and of culture issues, and anything outside of that purview is something that they didn't want to bother themselves with because it's not an easy slam dunk, easy funding money. It's way easier to hop on Facebook Live and burn a bunch of empty boxes to say that you're totally against. Yo, did you all see Pennsylvania Governor Josh being the party for old people, making sure that people have health care and not only are they insured, but they're not. Yo, did you all see Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro? Things like helping solve homelessness. It's hard to do things like feeding hungry children. It's hard to do things like getting better education. It's hard to do things like improving your wildlife and improving the environment so people don't die from things like pollution. It's hard to remove pollution from woodland areas. It's hard to remove pollution from populated areas. It's hard to build rail. It's hard to do investments into your constituents. It's hard to do all that stuff. It's easy to do Facebook Live stunts, and so that's what they do now. That's why they're the party of Facebook Live stunts and culture war bullshit, and that's the only thing that they care about. That's it. That's it. They've all completely succumbed to it because they know that their constituents will care more and react more to things like that than they will to drive.
Thank you, Sharko30. I love you so much. I will put all you guys in the description. Check out Sensei Ninja Pig on TikTok, and check my TikTok out, and check out my Instagram and my Facebook. And I hope to see you guys next time. Love y'all. See ya. I'll try to do some more gaming streams. Bye-bye.